B'ezrat Hashem, tonight we're going to be counting Hod of Malchut, and that's it. We don't have much time left. We have 3 more days of counting, and then we're done. So we're talking about the entire week of Malchut, how important that week is, how the week is the, so to say, the end result of our hard work for the last 6.5 weeks. And the Malchut is all about the leadership, about the king within me, the qualities of a king that I mentioned many times, that we are made in the image of God. So every quality that Hashem has, we have it, we possess it. And everybody. Doesn't mean that one has a certain quality and the other doesn't. Just maybe one is more dominating or a little bit easier to apply, but we all possess these midot, these character traits. So focusing on the fact of the leadership, we talked about it the last couple of days. So the last couple of days I was asking a question, who wants to be a leader? And the question was everybody wants to be a leader. So in a different way, of course. And some people, that's their nature. Some people, the desire to be a leader is coming from a negative place, not from a positive place, just to be controlling people. Nevertheless, we want to know who's worthy of being a leader. So, who's worthy to be a leader? It's very hard to know who's worthy. Even when you, in our day of age, sometimes there's a community or there's a board, and they want to decide who's going to be the head of the board, who's going to lead the community, who's going to lead the group. And not only that, sometimes in a group of people. I mentioned so many times that if, hypothetically, you would be able to get the top 100, 300, 500 rabbis of the world, from all the communities, all the groups, all walks of life, and put them in one room, and this is all hypothetically, of course, because that will never happen, but imagine you are a lucky day and you get all these rabbis coming from all around the world, and one brave person says, listen guys, we're all serve the same God, and we all follow the same Torah, and we all put tefillin the same way, we slaughter the animals the same way, and we observe the Shabbat the same way, and we all want Mashiach to come. What do we need to do for Mashiach to come? We need to start liking each other, and we have to stop hating each other. So why don't we now start switching our members? You'll give me your students, I'll give you my students, my followers will go to that shul, and we'll start mishmashing everybody. Now if the leaders come to the community and says, this is what's going to happen, most likely the congregation and the students and the people will follow the leader. So, and hypothetically, if something like this can happen, then I'm sure we can hasten the redemption very, very fast. The problem is that the leaders are corrupt, and you know in Hebrew we say adag masriach me'arosh, the fish stinks from the head. So, but if hypothetically something like this should work, then we're going to have a problem, because right away will be a question, okay, who is going to be the chairman of this big committee? So they'll say, okay, Mr. Rabbi so-and-so, no, he's Sephardi. Okay, so Rabbi so-and-so, no, he's Ashkenaz. And okay, so maybe this rabbi, no, he's a chassid, he's wearing a shtreimel, and needless to say, nobody will agree. Why should you make the decision? I want to make the decision. And before you know it, the committee will be one big disaster and a fist fight, and we all go home and nothing. But nevertheless, because everybody wants to be a leader, try it in Sfat. I think this only Mashiach, I think, will be able to pull something like this. I'm not joking. I mentioned that a couple of times already. For the last 3 years, we're trying to organize some type of a unity event. And I and another 2 rabbis, we've been trying to contact so many other rabbis to say, let's make an event like that. Let's make an event that we're sitting in one forum from all walks of life in Judaism, and we show our students, our followers, our communities how it's done. Because if my congregation will hear me talking bad about another group, why would my followers, either they'll hate me, or either they'll be like, oh, my rabbi is talking bad about them, so he must know what he's talking about. So, but nevertheless, we don't have much success. 3.5 years we're trying to make an event like this, and we have very little success. And usually the answers that we get are more in the line of who's going to be there. So far we have so and so and so. No, if that guy's there, I don't want to come. And then we're getting answers like who's going to be the main speaker, who's going to sit in the front line, who cares who's going to be? Just come and then the most popular answer we get: when you have it ready, call me and I'll come. Yeah, but we need you to be part of it. So not so easy to get cooperation when it comes to the argument of leadership. But comes a big question: who's worthy to be a leader? I mean, we were lucky in history that God chose the leaders for us. We didn't have to choose them. There wasn't. They didn't run a presidential campaign 2,000 years ago. Who's going to be the king? Kadosh Baruch Hu chose who's going to be the king. That's somebody's phone. That's me. So Baruch Hashem, Kadosh Baruch Hu chose Moshe Rabbeinu, chose David HaMelech, based on the qualification that Kadosh Baruch Hu saw to be the right ones. But in our personal life, we need to know who's worthy to be the leader. Now, our sages say that the crown of the Malchut, we learned today in the morning that there are 3 crowns. Keter Keuna, the crown of the priestlyhood; Keter Torah, the crown of the Torah; and Keter Malchut, the crown of the kings, the kingship. So Keter Malchut, it's befitting the one that is wearing it, depending on the person, not on the crown. So that's what our sages say. If the person is worthy, then whatever crown is going to put on him is going to make him look very, very well. And if you put the crown on the wrong person, doesn't matter what the crown is, it's not going to look right. And this is the idea behind Hod of Malchut, because Hod is the glory, is kind of the idea of a crown, the something that is a surrounding cover, what we call a or makif. In English they will call it a hila or halo, halo, something that surrounds and shines and projects what's coming from the inside. Now, there is a place in the Torah in Parashat Vayechi that when Yaakov Avinu was rebuking the Shvatim and was also pointing out their qualities, the main lineage of kings from the tribe of Yehuda, Yaakov said, Yehuda, ata yuducha achicha. All your brothers are going to admit that you are the king. Yuducha, it can be translated as they will thank you. But we mentioned that many times, that the Hod is not necessarily the glory or the thanking, Hodaya. It's also the admitting, the Hoda'ah. And Yaakov was telling Yehuda, ata, you, Yuducha achicha, your brothers are going to admit that's the king, that's the leader. And the right person knows how to step down and say, I'm not going to be the leader in this group. He's fit to be the leader right now. That's what I said before. Everybody wants to be leaders, and whatever it is. But it takes a much greater person to say, for this specific task, I'm not the right person. That's the right person. And for that specific task, that is the right person, not me. Now, that's why we represent the question, who's the right person to be the leader? Now, our sages say that the kings of the lineage, the house of David, they had a special crown. That's why even Melech HaMashiach comes from the Malchut Be David. And they say, Kol hara'ui lemalchut haketer olem oto. The one that is worthy to be the king or the leader, the keter that they put on him will befit him. It would look good. Even if you put a cake on his head, it doesn't matter. The person is what makes the crown, not the crown makes the person. Now, needless to say, we're not talking here about a physical crown. Don't think for 1 second that Melech HaMashiach is going to come very soon, is going to be wearing a crown. So I know in a lot of the sketches that you see about our kings, they show David HaMelech with a crown. I don't think David HaMelech, there's no source that David HaMelech was wearing an actual crown with rubies in it. This is, maybe I'm wrong, And I didn't find any source that's showing that our kings were wearing crowns. This is not a Jewish concept. Also Moshe Rabbeinu is a king. He wasn't wearing a crown. But nevertheless, I'm also sure Melech HaMashiach is not going to be coming with a nice crown with the rubies in it and diamonds. Obviously, we're talking here about a spiritual crown. And a crown is something that surrounds the head, something that is dressed above the head. Needless to say that when we want to apply the idea of Hod Sheba Malchut, the glory, the unique glory of the sphere of Malchut, is we want to look at it more in a practical way. To speak in high language, in big words, it doesn't make any effect in my life. The more practical way of approaching it is that we tend to look for what shines nice and what glitter and what looks impressive, and like a crown. When you look at somebody, you look at their outside, how they're dressed, how they're holding themselves, the jewelry they wear on themselves. We tend to look to the crown, to something that is external, and according to that, we judge the person if he might be worthy to be the leader or not. You think David HaMelech was physically, he appeared to be the right person to be the king? Kadosh Baruch Hu didn't look for the appearance. Kadosh Baruch Hu looked for the qualities. So same thing here, we have to find within ourselves to constantly look for what's real, not what's fake. It's a very fake world. The world is called by our sages the world of deception, Alma de Shikra, the world that is all lie. And we fall for this lie by looking at the external things, what shines, what glitters, and as there's a famous saying, saying not everything that glitters. Okay, so I know the saying a little bit different. Not everything that shines is gold. I mean, in Hebrew, it's maybe I translated for how I know it from Hebrew. Lo kol moshe notzitz zahav. Not everything that shines is actually gold. And the world knows how to cater fake things that look very good, especially in our generation. Now the fake things are done so good that it's almost impossible already to say, but the difference between the real and the fake. I lived in New York for 15 years, and in New York there's a certain street that everybody from all over the world likes going there. A stinky street. There's more rats than people. Dirty, disgusting. It's called Canal Street, and everybody goes there. Why? Because you can buy all the name tags of everything that you want for a fraction of the price. And you walk in this disgusting street. No offense to the New Yorkers, but it's just a dirty street. It's like, okay, I said enough. And then suddenly a door will open out of nowhere, and some person will come out, snatch you in, close the door, and then you can buy a handbag that on Fifth Avenue will cost $5,000. You buy it for $22, and you can still bargain and get it maybe for $18. And this is not just a handbag. Anything you want, you'll find the fakeness there. And I'm not saying it's a dirty street. It's dirty because it's really dirty. I mean, the road there, I don't think they ever fixed the road. I lived in New York for 15 years. There was always construction on the road. It was never fixed. Probably an Israeli contractor. Started the job, never fixes it. I'm not joking. I mean, any New Yorker can prove what I'm saying. 15 years, there's construction on this road, and they never fix the road. You go on this road, you need to right away take the car to the car garage because all the road is all broken there. And then every 2 meters you fall into a pothole and then breaks your suspension. But nevertheless, even physically, the street is dirty, it reeks. Because it's the manifestation of the glitter, and everything's glitter there. But it's all fake. And I don't know why people like it. I don't know, maybe people just like the action, the bargaining. But today the fakeness is so good, the Samech Mem is so well concealed and so hidden that the world caters the fakeness. And that the result is, since we want to focus on leadership, not on handbags, we even choose our leaders when the leaders are all fake. Whether it's politics, whether it's in many other things. No need to go into too many details. And we give power to the leaders that seem like they know what they're doing. They're all fake. That's why we don't have leaders in our generation. Even it doesn't matter where it is. Even in the world of the Torah, we don't have a leader right now. Okay, maybe this group has a rabbi, that group has a rabbi, but a real leader we don't have. Maybe because it's not the time. Maybe Mashiach will be the only one who will be able to do it. But we don't have leaders. If we want to focus just on the observant world, I don't think there's one rabbi in our generation that gets respect from all walks of life. This group will give honor and respect to their rabbi. But look, for example, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, there was a very great rabbi, the Baba Sali. There was not one person that can say something bad about him. Everybody went to him. Ashkenazim, Sfaradim, Hasidim, everybody went there. So this is a leader that everybody pays respect. It doesn't matter what's his background. I don't think we have leaders. Maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think we have now a leader that everybody's like, wow, I don't care what's his background or his opinion. He's a great, okay, maybe we have 2 or 3, but the point is that even how we appoint our leaders, doesn't matter if it's in politics, in business, in the community, is unfortunately, that's also, there's a sheker there. If a person knows how to talk a little bit smooth, and he's a good talker, a little bit of a political background, right away wins the election. And we need to know how to see within ourselves even what is the real leader and what is the fake leader. And sometimes it doesn't have to be a politician or a great rabbi. It can be within a little group or even in my own little house that a lot of the leadership is coming from a very negative place because somebody just wants to control. And needless to say, so what do they call it in our generation? A control freak. That person he likes to control everybody. This is the same idea. What? So the point is that when we want to take the idea of Hod of Malchut and to apply it practically, is to be able to recognize between the real thing and the fake thing. And this is not a simple thing to do, but there are ways that how you can recognize what's the real and what's fake. And needless to say, that when the person, since we're talking about a leader, the person that the agenda is about truth and peace and love and unity, you're saying, oh, this is the real deal. When I became observant, I was very confused because I first got attached to one rabbi and he disappointed me. Then I got attached to a different rabbi, he disappointed me too. And I went from this yeshiva to that yeshiva, from this yeshiva, and I only met disappointments. And at some point I met a certain individual, and then obviously the Kadosh Baruch Hu sent him, and I told him, I'm very confused because, this rabbi, I had the utmost respect to him, and then I hear him talking bad about that person. And that rabbi said this, and this group said about this, about that group. How do you really find a real leader? Somebody I need somebody to lead me. I don't know what to do. I think I'm going to open the book and I'm going to figure it out. You need to ask somebody. You need to look at an example. So he told me, because I was very, very confused, and he told me, if you see anyone, I don't care how long his beard is and how many followers or students he has, but if the person's agenda is the opposite of truth and to create disagreements and arguments, and the person is only about power and fame and money, and that's not a leader. Anytime you see a person that in the observant world, that their agenda is not to bring peace, but rather to do a machloket, to make an argument, and their agenda is to make a separation between two people, then move away from the person like from fire. Because a real leader, I think Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to bring a disagreement between two people or between two groups. A real leader is interested only in bringing peace between people and spreading the truth, and doesn't care about status and power and money and me, and that's not a real leader. When two leaders are fighting, you see it unfortunately in our generation in many groups. The leader dies, then he leaves behind him 3 boys. Now they all start fighting between them. I'm talking about in the observant world. I'm not talking about now in politics or the secular world. I mean, in the observant world, you see different groups, and the inheritors, they fight with each other. I want to be the leader. No, I should be the leader. That's not. That's where you see the fakeness. But nevertheless, it can also be taken in our personal life. We're not necessarily a leader of a community or a country. Even in the little community or in even my own private home. The point I want to take from that is that when our sages say that the crown shines beautifully when the one who's wearing it is the right person, is to try to find the emet in everything, and not everything that shines is gold. And when something is beautiful, you can buy something that it will be beautiful, but if it's placed on somebody that is the wrong person, it's not going to look good on that person. And then you can buy something cheap, simple, whatever it is, put it on the right person, it would look completely different. Because what makes the man? What he wears, what he drives? No, he makes it. Happens to be that what he drives and what he wears and so forth, that's because it might look good or not good because of the person himself. So that's why our sages say the crown looks beautiful depending who's wearing it, and that's exactly what we need to apply into our life, is to understand that everything has the question if it's real or not, and what's fake or not, and needless to say, to see what's the motive behind it, and what's the agenda behind it, and that's how we really focus our decisions on what's real and what's not real, what's fake and what's not fake. And needless to say, the real deal, the beauty comes within. Whatever is fake, the beauty will come from the outside, not from within. It's very easy to confuse because the fakeness in our generation, I told you, is so good, so well done. These Chinese people, they know what they're doing. It looks like exactly like the real thing. The replica looks, Gucci, Pucci, whatever it is. But nevertheless, so we need to go beneath the surface or above the surface and to constantly look for the real deal. And that's where you see the real Malchut, the real emet. You know how many Meshichim we have in our generation? Probably thousands of them. We can make a country just for all the Meshichim, that they put them all together on some island. Because everybody wants to be a Mashiach. They don't even know it's the stinkiest job in the world. People think that it's a glorious job. I don't envy the poor guy. What are you going to have to deal with? Just dealing with the Jews is enough. But nevertheless, everybody has this Mashiach syndrome. I know many emails I get per day that that person claims I'm the Mashiach. I need to meet you. It's urgently. And I told you already, we have a folder for the Mashiachim. So, and the funniest thing is they all hang out on Facebook. I didn't know Mashiach has a Facebook account. But nevertheless, we have to constantly be aware of what's the real deal and what's the sheker in this world. And needless to say that the beauty comes from within and not from an external part. And needless to say, this can also be looked upon in a very private and personal, my own life. Sometimes I feel that I should be right now the leader of the group, or I should take charge. I just take a stand. And sometimes I need to say, who am I kidding? I'm not going to lead this group right. I'm not going to be the right person for the job. I want to. It's very glorious, but sorry, it's not me. Sorry, you chose the wrong person. So this, if you want to take it to a personal level, even though sometimes I want to be the leader, the control is very tempting. But nevertheless, I have to know when I'm not the leader. I might be a leader here, but not here. And I need to know when to give over the leadership to the right person. Because sometimes, look, the argument with David HaMelech and Shaul HaMelech. Obviously, Shaul HaMelech was constantly pulling to his direction. And Hashem at some point says, I'm sorry to tell you, you failed your part. I don't think you're the right one. And I'm going to give it to somebody else. Shaul didn't take it in a nice way. That it's taken away from him. Nevertheless, we should hope and pray. Very soon we should see our real leader. And Be'ezrat Hashem, this can become more of a reality when we know how to separate between the truth and the lie, and also to know how to humble ourselves to be able to appoint the right people to the right positions and the right jobs, and let the right people do what they need to do without me being jealous or chas v'shalom judgmental, or that person is not doing it, I will do it much better. Whatever it is, you have to know how to place each person in the right place, and in a very harmonious way is to let the Malchut come with the divine providence.